Welcome back to the Weekly Download, the show where we take apart what's happening around us and make a little joke between all the chaos. We've officially been doing this for 1 year now, besties. So get your matcha, a little snack, and let the download commence. All right, besties. Belize's buses are officially running on vibes and fumes. The Belize Bus Association says rising fuel prices are pushing operators to the edge. So they've asked Transport Minister Louis Davanet for help. Cut fuel taxes, bring back subsidies, or raise fares. But the government says no fare hikes without approval. So now it's like, how exactly are they supposed to survive? President Philip Jones warns that if nothing changes soon, collective action could be next. And that means disruptions. And here's the real tea. Independents carry most commuters, but say they're getting none of the support. Because if buses stop, Belize slows down. As an avid bus catcher, may I have to say, I get why they're talking about these options. Operating buses is tough. Diesel is sky high. Maintenance costs are up. Plus, you can't expect a bus leaving Belize City at 5 p.m. to make it up north like the one that left at 10 a.m. Not even if you mash the gas through the floor. Then that's a safety issue and it's about how bus drivers aren't safe on the roads, etc. But there are bigger things at play. So passengers should weigh in, consider the facts, consider the real costs, pressure the government to look for real solutions to the bus situation in Belize, and then talk about fair prices together. Because at the end of the day, everybody want reach. All right, besties. Remember when tech companies said AI was coming for your job? Well, plot twist. It's not even AI doing the firing. Companies like Oracle, Amazon, and Microsoft are laying off thousands of workers, not because robots replace them, but because they have spent billions chasing AI hype. They now need to cut costs. So basically, AI didn't take your job. Bad financial decisions did. Oracle alone is reportedly cutting thousands while trying to raise $50 billion to compete in the AI race. And here's the real tea. There's no strong evidence yet that AI is replacing workers at scale. So, all that robots are coming talk? Yeah. Turns out the real threat was executives with champagne dreams and lime juice money. Okay, quick pause because we want to give you a first look at something new. We recently sat down with the Prime Minister, Honorable John Briceño, for the launch of a new portrait series. And this moment from the conversation, yeah, it stood out. Take a look.
One of the things that it's very important is to try to live to your principles on what you believe or what you think is right or wrong. Um, and in life, there's not white and black. There's gray areas that you have to work with. But I've always said there's a line you can't cross because once you cross that line, then you lose it all. And so I could understand, especially a lot of times young people or young business persons or people in politics want to get into politics right now, feel that they have to do certain things to be able to get ahead. And you may get ahead in the short term, but you don't last long. You don't last long in anything that you do. If you do in business, there's a lead deal that slightly crooked, but you feel you could get away with it, you might get away with it. But pretty soon people will realize that, hold on, you don't do business with that person for these reasons. And in politics, the same thing applies. Our voters are a lot more informed than what we think. And whilst you may think that you do the things, they will read through you. I have seen some really, really good, outstanding, intelligent politicians, and they come with a bright light, like, oh, whoa, these where people are. And they don't last long. They don't last long because in many instances, they go in there with personal agendas and forgetting why you're there, that you're there to help people and to make people's lives better. And people see through that. So my advice to any young person, um, live by your principles. And yes, sometimes, you just can't be black and white, but you must always have a line that you can't cross. Because the day you cross that line, it's over for you.
That was just a small taste of the full conversation. We'll be releasing the full interview soon, so keep an eye out. Today, we talk about a myth most people still believe that AI is neutral, like an infallible referee that sees the world exactly as it is. But in reality, AI is only as neutral as the data and the people who build it. Research shows that AI actually reflects and can amplify social inequalities, especially when deployed in contexts different from where it developed. A 2025 paper titled The Hidden Bias in AI explains that AI learns from the data we feed it. When that training data reflects human prejudice against women, racial minorities, or marginalized groups, AI systems can replicate those biases in real world outcomes. For example, Amazon's AI hiring tool systematically disadvantaged female applicants because of patterns in historical data. But it gets more complex and more global. Research on algorithmic bias in the global south shows that the issue isn't just about one company's data set. It's about unequal power in who gets to define the data, who gets included, and whose context even counts. In the paper Decolonizing Algorithms, Artificial Intelligence, Bias, and Digital Colonialism in the Global South, AI governance, scholars argue that many AI systems are designed using data and values from the global north that fail to capture local socio-cultural realities. This leads to unfair outcomes in developing countries where those systems are deployed because they simply don't reflect local contexts. The same study outlines how this bias isn't a technical bug, it's a part of structural power imbalances. The global south often becomes a data source and market without meaningful input in design or governance decisions, replicating patterns of unequal participation that resemble a form of digital colonialism. Another peer reviewed article, Understanding AI and Power Situated Perspectives from Global North and South Practitioners, shows through interviews that discussions of AI governance and ethics are dominated by wealthy Western nations. This marginalizes the concerns of low and middle income countries, which face different ethical and practical challenges when AI is applied in their settings. So, the real takeaway is this: AI may be global, but it's not neutral. It reflects whose data it learned from, whose questions it was trained to answer, and which contexts and communities had a seat at the table. And if we don't demand more inclusive data, more culturally aware designs, and AI governance that includes diverse voices from the global south, then the future shaped by AI will continue to reinforce the inequalities of the present. Well, besties, it's been 1 year of downloads, and wow, what a ride! Thank you for every listen, every share, and every moment you spent with me. If today's chat lifted you even a little, hit the follow and leave a quick review. It helps more of you find this community. Until next time, download complete.